and welcome to another episode. You know, technologies including artificial intelligence and cloud computing, they're enabling fans around the world to have new, immersive experiences of their favorite sport and players. So how are these cutting-edge technologies impacting sports and bettering the fan experience? And how is IBM working with sports organizations to digitally transform the games? Interesting. So let's find out. My very special guest for this episode is Noah Syken. He's Vice President, IBM Sports and Entertainment Partnerships. And he's going to share with us more information about the work IBM is doing with sports, including how new technologies are impacting the fan experience and examples of IBM's partnerships with major sporting events and the future of sports as IBM sees it. Welcome to the Mark Bishop Show, Noah.
Well, thanks for having me, Mark.
Well, exciting times for IBM, Noah, with the new partnerships.
Yeah, we're always looking forward to bringing our capabilities to life. And with the US Open happening right now, looking forward to getting to the action.
Okay, so what are fans actually looking for in the future of sports? And is technology changing sports for fans, really?
Yeah, well, we think that artificial intelligence, cloud computing are really enabling fans to have deeper and more immersive experiences, no matter where they touch sport. And we think that they want to get closer to the athletes. They want to get closer to the teams. They want to have better experiences in stadiums. And we see this happening everywhere. Almost every sport's raising the bar month by month. So it's one thing to say about bringing new innovation to sports, but it's really hard to actually continuing to elevate the bar year after year, month after month, sport after sport. But fans really do come to expect more as time goes on, and that's what we have to meet the expectations of.
Well, as an example, you touched on tennis, of course, in the US Tennis Open. Building, I guess, on the popular IBM Match Insights with Watson feature. And that analyzes millions of data points and over 100 million sources over the course of the tournament. Win factors, huh? That brings an additional level of transparency into what factors are being analyzed by the AI models. And this is to determine match insights and likelihood to win. Gee, when you think about that, I mean, it must change a lot of betting around the place.
Well, I don't know about the betting angle, but we think it does give fans a reason to, engage more. So you mentioned likelihood to win. These are our predictions for each singles match. When you go to usopen.org or download the application, you're going to see our predictions for each match and then have the ability to vote and have your say. And then, look, if I've invested that time to understand the prediction and then vote on my own, I'm more likely to hang around to see, was I right? Did I make the right prediction? Was the AI right? Were we both right? And so these are the little subtle things that we can start to infuse into the fan experience that hopefully give the fans a reason to, spend more time and enjoy the matches that much more.
So, Noah, how did IBM work with, say, the USTA to bring the tournament to life this year?
So we've been a partner with the US Open for over 30 years. From the very beginning of the digital era. So we really always think about how do we raise the bar. And this year it was about the continued infusion of artificial intelligence. In particular, there's a fantasy tennis game that's happening around the US Open, and there's a lot of players in the draw. And when you're making those fantasy tennis predictions, you probably don't know the 75th ranked player, but you still need to account for them when you're making your draw predictions. So we use artificial intelligence. You mentioned IBM Match Insights earlier. It's going to give little factoids and great information generated by artificial intelligence for each one of those players to hopefully help you make better fantasy tennis predictions if you choose to engage in that kind of activity.
Well, I was going to ask, what other sports partnerships does IBM have, and how can fans see this technology in action? And when I think about Watson's artificial intelligence technology in the football arena. That'll be integrated apparently into ESPN's fantasy football app to help fantasy football players make the most informed decision. So footy's going to get it too, mate.
Well, exactly. There are millions of people who play fantasy football. In many cases, they may care more about their fantasy football team than the actual team on the field. But fantasy football, the key is managing your team over the course of a whole season. how you manage the injuries, how you manage the players that are underperforming, and how you actually manage trades amongst the players. And so we have the IBM Trade Analyzer this year in the ESPN Fantasy Football app to help people understand when they've made that trade proposal or they've received that trade proposal, a fair assessment of that proposal using artificial intelligence. And so that, in addition to the boom and bust predictions we provide for each player every week of the season, we have a whole suite of AI applications running with ESPN. And so it's pretty exciting for us, and I can't wait to get started.
Well, it really makes fans feel like they're part of it all, doesn't it? They're right in there. So, I mean, when you think about it, IBM, you've had a long history of delivering next generation digital experiences for some of the world's most revered sports and entertainment events and venues. Why does IBM partner with these types of organizations?
Well, people may naturally associate IBM with more traditional businesses, banks or insurance companies or retailers around the world. But the reality is that these sporting events, they're businesses too. The US Open has over 800,000 fans, I'll call them customers, that come out to the Open every year, plus the millions that watch on TV and digital. And so they're businesses just like more traditional businesses, and they need to get their hands around the data. And so we think about these as great examples of how we bring our strategic capabilities to life, in this case in the world of sports, but we really also want more traditional businesses to imagine how these capabilities apply to them. I talked about 100 million sources of information. If I'm a retailer, I want to know what my 100 million customers are saying about me around the world. And so whether it's what people are saying about tennis or what they're saying about my retail operations, I need to get my hands around the data. And that's one of the reasons why we engage in this kind of activity.
Well, it sounds very high-techy, mate, where it's all going. And you hear different pundits, out there in the media warning on AI but the benefits of AI and the this and the that. What are you hearing back from everybody with our future of AI?
Well, I think mostly that some of those opinions come from a lack of knowledge, right? We first of all, we believe that artificial intelligence is really just a human assistant, right? The marriage of man and machine is incredibly important. The other thing I'd say is being able to explain what's behind the AI is particularly important. You mentioned win factors in the context of tennis, and I talked about the power index and our predictions. Well, the win factors are actually the explainable part of our predictions. When we say a player is going to win 52% as an example, we want to be able to explain why. And so whether that's the court surface or recent performance, that explainability part of the AI is really important in tennis. But again, it's equally as important to every other aspect of where AI is applied. So we want to be able to explain. We want to take the mystery out of it for people. We want to really help people get a little more comfortable with the fact that the AI is really about human assistance more than anything.
Well, I can see it bringing a lot of enjoyment. The big nights on TV when they have the trade nights and so on. And of course, new this year, with IBM introducing the Trade Analyzer with Watson. I think that's going to lift a lot of eyebrows. I think people are going to thoroughly enjoy that one.
Well, we hope so. And we've seen in the past that when we bring new capabilities to life, people sometimes have a hard time adopting it, but before you know it, they come to expect it. I mean, think about the 1st and 10 line in the NFL as an example. 25 years ago, nobody even imagined it could exist. Now, people couldn't imagine watching a football game without that 1st and 10 line. So people come to expect it pretty quickly once they get a taste of it.
Can I read all this stuff on IBM.newsroom.com? Is that a good place to go to if I wanted to follow up on this?
That's definitely one of the places. I'd also suggest folks go to IBM.com/sports. To find out more information.
IBM.com/sports. That's pretty easy. Fascinating stuff. Well, the future of sports, folks. Hey, talk about spin your head around how IBM is bringing tennis and football to life for us, the fans, all through new artificial intelligence and cloud technology applications. Noah Syken was the gentleman, and indeed, thank you, mate. It's very interesting stuff. We appreciate the time you've given.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. Bye-bye.